What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Max, aka Hair Guy Blondie. Now, I want to talk about this team, the Winnipeg Jets. And as a fan, I've been a fan of the Winnipeg Jets since 2015. I remember that first playoff series that they were ever in when they got back into the playoffs against the Anaheim Ducks. That was a whole different team from what we have right now in 2025. And that was the start of the Jets really building something. And then in 2016, of course, no Canadian teams made the playoffs in 2016, if anyone remembers that, and it was all American teams. And then they didn't make it in 2017, and then they made it again in 2018. And I remember the 2018 run. Like, that was insane. Like, they were a juggernaut going into the playoffs. They showed it against Minnesota. They bounced Nashville out of round two, and they were headed into the Western Conference final, and they got smacked by Vegas. And it was a huge hurt back then. I remember I had a guy in high school who was a Tampa Bay fan, and he was just giving it to me. And I told him off on the phone. I remember that. We were, game five was being played, at Canada Life Center, and I was out with my parents at a family's friend's house. And I just remember, like, I was checking the score of the game was on, and I would just remember, as a fan at the time who didn't know how to control his emotions, I would get so angry that I got angry with how they performed. And it's not like they lost. It's like a lot of the time, like, they would have a very, very good effort. And I know that's momentum and the other team will take over. But since that 2018 run, the Jets haven't looked as good, is what I'm trying to say. They got bounced in the first round in 6 games against the St. Louis Blues, the team that they're facing right now in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I'm really worried that this is going to happen again. Because ever since 2018, the Jets have gotten worse. And then they have gotten a bit better during the regular season. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. And there was that all-Canadian division. And the Jets, swept Edmonton in the first round. And then got swept by Montreal. Missed the playoffs in 2022. I don't know what I'm doing with my hand here, but I'm doing something with it. But I'm trying to create it like a spike, like a line of good and bad. Like, hey, positive, negative. But then they made the playoffs in 2023. Almost fell out. I remember they faced Vegas in 2023, and they almost fell out of that playoff spot. And they barely squeaked in after being first in the Central and then falling all the way down to the second wild card spot. And they played Vegas. They won the first game. There was a lot of hope, and then they lost the next 4. Same thing last year with Colorado, but the positives are even more positive because the Jets stayed in the top 3. They got better at the regular season, and then they won the first game against Colorado. They had home ice advantage. There was a lot of feeling in the fan base like, hey, they're gonna go. This is the year they're gonna go pretty far, and then boom, it was a drop off. And then 2025, their best franchise season as a whole, they went really, really high up. They finished first in every category, and you know what happened in this playoffs? They won the first 2 games, still feeling good. And the difference with this year is that after a bad loss, the Jets would bounce back. They would spank the next 5 teams, 3 teams. They would just show up relentlessly. But they win the first 2 games. They're not the best Jets games in the playoffs. I mean, they had a good not first period. They had a really good third period in those first 2 games to get the series lead to 2-0. But St. Louis was really coming out hard in the first half, and the Jets would just in Winnipeg, they would just fucking turn it on, and then that's how they won their first 2 games, and they just shut St. Louis down in that second game. The second game has been the best game the Jets have played in this series. They go to St. Louis, they lose 7-1. And then they lose 5-1. Connor Hellebuck gets poked twice. And I'm just going to show the level of disappointment. I threw my hat when he got pulled twice. Like, I've gotten better at controlling my emotions. Like, I'm not cursing or yelling when my team's losing like I was as a young teenage lad. But I had to throw my hat. It's embarrassing at this point. And this isn't on Mark Chipman, Kevin Cheveldayoff. This isn't on the organization or the people who are involved in making this team. It's the players at this point. You can't blame Kevin Cheveldayoff. He's built a great team. But there's something mental about this team. They lose a game in the playoffs now. They haven't bounced back from a playoff loss since that St. Louis series. Like, that is bad. Like, that is really, really sad. And I'm worried that they're going to get bounced in 6 games again. And it's going to be like 2019 all over again. It's going to be like 2023, 2024. You can make an argument in that Vegas series that the Jets were the underdog since they were in that wild card spot. But it's just sad. It's really disappointing being a Jets fan right now. And I'm not going to lie, the team's an embarrassment. The team has this weird mental hurdle that when they get down in a series, they collapse. Like, it's been 3 years, really, of this team recently. And if you want to go all the way back to 2021 and 2019, you can, but it's pathetic. It's pathetic that, like, they just continue to disappoint. They have just shown that they're a great regular season team, but when the going gets tough, they cannot succeed. Connor Hellebuck, I don't care what he says about his game. He is not playing good. He is collapsing. He's getting agitated. He's going up to the refs. Like, he went up to the ref once last game, but still, he's complaining about a goal, and it's just, keep your emotions in check. And the team itself is breaking defensively. They had like 15 good minutes in that first period, 8 minutes in the second period, and they collapsed. After St. Louis tied the game up with a few seconds left in that first period, they collapsed. They just absolutely collapsed. And they collapsed even more. They had a good second for the first 8 minutes. And then when St. Louis took over, it was nothing. It was just dead. The team dies. And it's embarrassing as a fan base to watch. Because no one wants to watch a product on the ice that can't perform when it matters. They can't do it when it matters. And it's been nearly a decade, really, of this same core. Now that they're in their late 20s, early 30s, Mark Scheifele, Connor Hellebuck, Adam Lowry, just all those guys who have been there since that 2018 run that are still on this team, Kyle Connor, and it's sad. It's really, really sad to see as a fan about how dog shit the Winnipeg Jets are. Every playoff postseason appearance now for the last few years, and how shitty Connor Hellebuck plays, and how he is so invested in himself that he can't take a look to see how shit he is playing. He is one of the most cocky, arrogant fucks in the interviews. It is so insane. But I'm a fan. I'm still going to be cheering for this team. I'm still going to do my part. I'll still cheer for them. I have Nikolai Euler's jersey hanging right there. So go Jets, go. I guess I don't know how you stay positive. I really am thinking that this is just, we're going to see the same collapse again. And in the, after Wednesday, St. Louis might get a 3-2 series lead and then win the series after that in Game 6 back in St. Louis. But that is yet to be determined. The Jets could just all of a sudden, they can be a schizophrenic team at times. Maybe they can come back and win the next 10. Who knows? But Yeah, it's really tough being a Jets fan right now. But if you're a Jets fan and you happen to stumble upon this video, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? Do you feel like the Jets even still have a shot to just turn this around and be the Jets that we have seen all 82 games this regular season? Or are they washed? Are they done? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you're new, maybe consider hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button. I don't normally talk about hockey. I do like hair growth and beard growth related videos. I talk about the monthly progress, so if you're interested in some dude growing out his hair and beard and want to see me, turn into the Wizzy, let me know. But other than that, have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.